Snow fell like quiet ash on Christmas night, and the city seemed to hold its breath as a little girl sat curled against a frozen storefront, labeled worthless by the only home she had known and pushed into the dark as if her small life carried no weight at all. The wind cut through her thin coat, the streetlights flickered like tired stars, and somewhere far away bells rang with a joy she could not reach, while her breath came out in short clouds that vanished too quickly, just like hope often did. If you believe stories of kindness still matter, if you believe in second chances and the quiet miracles that arrive when the world feels cruel, please take a moment right now to like this video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel, because what happened next on this night reminds us why compassion still has power. Her name did not matter to the city anymore, but it mattered to her heart, beating bravely beneath layers of fear. She had been told she was a burden, that love had limits, and that Christmas was for those who deserved it. The words echoed in her mind as she hugged her knees and watched people hurry past with wrapped boxes and warm laughter. None of it meant for her. The cold was not just on her skin. It was inside her chest, a heavy ache that made her feel smaller than the snowflakes melting on the sidewalk. She tried to be invisible, because being seen had not saved her before. Hunger gnawed softly, not sharp enough to scream, just enough to remind her that the night would be long. The city around her carried its own scars. Closed shops reflected her lonely shape in their glass, and the alleyways whispered stories of survival. Far down the street, engines rumbled, a deep thunder that rolled closer with the weight of something unstoppable. At first, it sounded like a storm, but the sky was clear. Headlights cut through the snowfall in a long, gleaming line, and the ground trembled as motorcycles moved with a purpose that felt ancient and fierce. Leather vests, chrome and roaring power filled the street, a sight that made people step back and doors shut tight. 200 riders arrived not with chaos, but with intention, their presence heavy as destiny. They were known to the world as Hell's Angels, a name wrapped in fear and legend, but on this night they carried something else. They had heard a story that cut through their hardened lives, a story of a child discarded on Christmas, and it struck a place in them that scars could not cover. One by one, the bikes slowed, engines softening like a held breath, until the street fell into a strange, reverent quiet. Snow settled on shoulders and helmets, and the cold no longer felt empty, because something warm had entered it. A large man stepped forward, his body marked by years of roads and battles, his eyes steady with a gentleness earned the hard way. He knelt in the snow so he would not tower over her fear, and he wrapped his jacket around her shoulders with hands that had known both violence and protection. In that simple act, the night shifted. The girl looked up, confused by kindness that did not ask for anything, and for the first time since she had been pushed away, she felt seen without being judged. The warmth of the jacket was more than fabric. It was a shield against a world that had told her she was nothing. The riders formed a quiet circle, not to trap her, but to guard her. Their bikes stood like iron sentinels against the wind. Someone brought hot food, another a blanket, another a small wrapped gift that had been meant for a stranger but somehow found the right hands. The city watched from behind curtains and windows, stunned by the contrast between reputation and reality. The girl's shivering slowed, her breathing steadied, and the tight knot in her chest loosened as she realized she was no longer alone. The night that began with rejection now pulsed with care. As the hours passed, the Hell's Angels did not rush away. They stayed, coordinating help, calling shelters, arranging warmth and safety not just for a night, but for the days that would follow. They understood the long road after rescue, the one where trust is rebuilt mile by mile. The girl listened to the engines idle like a lullaby, and in that sound she found courage. The fear that had been her only companion began to fade, replaced by a cautious hope that maybe being thrown away did not define her worth. Christmas morning arrived quietly, the snow glowing pink under a new sun. The street looked different, softer, as if it had learned something overnight. The girl was no longer on the sidewalk. She was warm, fed, and wrapped in care, her small hands holding onto a future that felt possible. The writers departed as they had arrived, not seeking praise, leaving behind a story that would travel farther than any road they rode. They did not erase the pain of what had happened, but they proved that cruelty does not get the final word. Before we reach the end of this story, please take a moment to comment below with a single word that describes how this made you feel. Your voice matters, and it helps this message of compassion reach more hearts. Years later, the memory of that night remained like a steady light. The girl grew with the knowledge that worth is not decided by those who turn you away, but by the courage to keep breathing until help arrives. She learned that families can be formed in unexpected ways, that kindness can wear leather and roar on engines, and that even on the coldest Christmas night, love can show up in a line of headlights. If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that hope can come from the most unlikely places, please like, share, and engage with this video so more people can feel this warmth. Sometimes all it takes to change a life is showing up, and sometimes showing up looks like 200 angels on motorcycles answering a child's silent prayer.